Welcome back to the Wilson Brothers channel. I'm David. This is Isaac.
What's up, guys?
We got my boy Johnny P.
What's going on?
We have a spicy one for you today. Very spicy. Candace Owens is being interviewed by George Janko on his podcast, and the title of the video reads,
"Oh God,
George Janko and Candace Owens on men wearing dresses." That was beautiful, but kind of weird at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. Are you excited for this?
It fits the mold.
Are you ready, JP?
oh yeah, I got some takes on this, so yeah, go ahead.
Stick around. Don't forget to subscribe because we come out with videos Monday through Friday, and you do not want to miss a thing.
It's offensive now, right?
Yeah.
You're a man. No, I'm wearing a
Did you know
dress.
she was
You know what I'm saying?
That-
Like,
I got-
literally, the truth is now considered offense.
That was our first tie together. Logan asked me on Impulsive. He goes, Harry Styles is wearing a dress. He goes, isn't that manly? And this is, I was on the podcast for maybe like a week or two. Like, I'm very new to the podcast. So I just go, manly? I'm like, I don't think that's manly at all. And I made jokes. I go, when you go to a department, you don't go, I really want a nice dress. And they go, yeah, it's in the men's department. They go in the women's department. I got reamed for that. But me and you tied in because you said the same thing. And I said, who's that? Like that. Because I was like, yo, who is that? Who's saying that? And you tweeted out, you're like, tell your friend who's irrelevant that I'm so side. I was like, no, we're on the same side. Like I was on your side. And I was like, oh, I'll apologize to her later about that. So I wanted to apologize.
No, it wasn't you.
It was me. It was me.
No, it was another person that was next to him.
Oh, you were talking about Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, Mike on
Yeah.
Impulsive.
He
This
said-
whole time I thought she was talking about you, she's talking about Mike?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, because he
That's
said,
so
I
funny.
remember watching this clip, and he didn't just say like, oh, who's that in a dress? He said it was actually regarding BLM. And he was on his like pro BLM pitch, Logan Paul, and he basically was saying that my perspectives on it, I don't know what he was saying, but essentially he was very pro BLM, and they were trying to say that I was deranged for being a black person who held a different viewpoint. And yeah, I tweeted like, what are you even talking about here? And I was like, I don't know who your friend is.
For years, I'm walking
Yeah.
around, be like, don't get out of bounds, bro.
No, it wasn't
Don't get
you.
out of bounds.
hilarious.
So this is my point of view, right? I don't think it's manly if a man wears a dress. Now,
Thank you.
if a man came up to
Hallelujah.
me and is like, I think it's manly to wear a dress, I would say, okay. I don't need to argue with it. So I don't understand that. Like a lot of people want to stand up for what they believe in, but as soon as I speak about what I believe in, it's wrong.
Yeah, because they're lying.
But I
right?
just don't
So-
get that.
That's an
Why
interesting.
is
that's
why
an
is this
interesting thing you just said.
controversial? Why is this controversial?
We living
a
in the
man
upside
wearing
down
a
world.
woman's dress?
I mean, it's funny because I think personally, this is my personal take.
Please talk.
I think that the cross-dressing and stuff like that, it's a humiliation thing that's a part of a group of individuals that force people that want to experience fame and fortune and things like that. It's a ritual for them, and they have to do certain
What
things
group
to
are
be
you
a part
So it's
of.
kind of like losing a bet but for the Illuminati.
Sure.
Wait. Speaking of that, what group are you talking about?
Just a very specific group of individuals.
they
Like,
will go nameless.
they
Nameless,
control.
because we don't want to be canceled.
We valued our
We
lives.
value our channel.
I just think that there's a perspective of if you want to be a part of something, you have to give a part of
Or it
yourself
kind
in
of
a
goes
way.
back to what Michael Jackson said, remember? It was Sony, I think, that literally told him that, I can't remember what was it, but it had
Well, he's
do
trying
with-
to purchase
It had to
something.
do with selling his soul in order to
say
be
Tom?
remembered forever or something. It was something crazy. I can't remember what it was. Sorry,
you-
that didn't give you any
Yeah, I was gonna
information.
say. I'm like, if you give me more, I'll talk about it. But
do you think that these factions that you're talking about, do you think they're selling their souls? What are they selling themselves to? Because obviously everybody in Hollywood wants to sell themselves for something. Whether
I think
that's power,
Hollywood's one of the
influence,
most.
or whatever.
I think Hollywood's one of the most visual pictures of a quote unquote cult. Right. I mean, that's like the biggest picture of like a group of individuals that are a part of a society that is. I mean, think about when you listen to someone that's in Hollywood, the way they speak. They're so out of touch with reality. Like
100%.
you make $40 million a year acting in movies, and you want to talk about the working class.
And now Cat
society.
Williams is exposing everybody.
I saw his videos.
Did you see him
man.
on
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp's, bro?
I would, if I was Cat Williams, I would go off the map now.
I would go to
He dropped the bomb, not disappear.
little island, a little sippy cup. All right, let's see if there's anything else interesting.
Good old Civic Up.
Civic Up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, how do we get to a friendly argument? Like, how do I get to somebody that has these viewpoints and be like, dude, I get it. You think that wearing a dress on a cover of a magazine or these men acting like women in movies and Cat Williams was talking about this. Everybody has their own points of views, but I've never in my life ever heard somebody else's point of views and got so upset that I was like, no, they need to see it from my point of view. I think that's what makes the world beautiful, bro. Even the people that I truly don't even agree with, it's at least we could get on a common ground and be like, yo, I don't agree with you, but
really
could you at least respect my...
As he was talking, before he said that, I was thinking on the same wavelength, right? So diversity of thought, like it is the most beautiful thing, because if you think about it, you and I can sit down in a room and we can have a conversation about football, and you can talk about, I believe that the NFL should be more of a passing league because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, but I think that running the football is more important because of X, Y, and Z. And we can have this, and I'm just giving a very broad example, but we can have this conversation and have foundational differences in it and walk away and not hate each other and have hurt each other.
We still like the NFL.
Yeah, and we still like each other, right? But like nowadays, it's so true. It's like, if you think that BLM, or you think that Christianity, or if you think that any sort of specific belief is important, and I differ from that, I'm a racist, I'm a bigot, I'm this, that, and the other. And it's like, there's no true understanding from people anymore.
Everything you're saying, 100% true. But if you come up to me and say, bro, wearing a dress is manly, I'm going to slap you in your freaking face. I don't, because this is the difference. Again, it comes down to who has equity in my life. If a random person I know off the street, it's like, hey, bro, I think wearing dresses are manly, I'll be like, do you, bro? I don't care. Yeah. If my brother, if Isaac walks up to me tomorrow wearing a little tutu and says, bro, tutus are the next, like, this is the fad, the next Sasquatch, like, or the commercial.
I'm going to do that just to piss you off.
No, if you do that and tell me, I will slap you. And it's because you actually are close to me in my life, so I refuse to allow somebody in my family. Now, granted,
but I think he made a good point too, not to cut you off, where he said, if someone that I don't know, or someone that like is trying to just argue with me, I think that's a level of maturity that I've experienced as I've gotten older, is I don't have to say something. If someone says something to me and they come at me, or they say something that they think and I don't agree, I can literally smile at you and say, sounds good, bro. No, I don't need to prove myself.
And that's what I said.
Yeah, who has equity in my life.
Family that's close to me decides to live that way, I'm not going to just say that's cool. Like, if Isaac decided to become the opposite side of the rainbow.
Let's use someone other than Isaac. And now I'm on the opposite side of the rainbow.
If Isaac decides to be a unicorn on the opposite side of the rainbow,
it's my turn.
I'm not cool with that.
So if David decides,
I'm not cool with that.
No, this is the crux of this. Before we get back to the video, what group do you belong to? That's what all of these people and the elites want to know. Is that you can't be a free thinker. You can't think for yourself. You have to identify with a certain victim group that caters to their preference of power. If you don't do that, then you are completely subjugated to what they want you to do, because power is only as good as the people that follow them and the people that are under their rule. So what he's talking about with men wearing dresses, it's only as good as the people that follow it. That's any culture of life.
So I know I brought it up earlier, but like one of the guys that I was
Put the mic closer.
Oh, sorry. We were in the sauna. It was like a couple of us, and one of the guys had said the sauna had been closed for like a month, and they were getting really frustrated. He said, so a bunch of them went up to the front together and said, if the sauna's not open tomorrow, we're all canceling our membership. And the next day it was open. And so he spoke about it. He said there's power in numbers. So you look at like all these companies that come out and they start supporting all these different perspectives, and you have families or people with morals and values that'll say, we're not going to stand for that, and they protest and they lose all this money. And there's been a few things over the last year or so that's happened. I'm not going to speak to them specifically, but when power in numbers comes out and that bottom line gets affected, what happens? Things change. So if you want change to happen, it has to come from a real group of individuals that are actually going to stand on truth and life. And when you speak about this, him by himself against a group of five guys that are like, you're not woke, bro. You're not about it. You're not with the times.
Go broke.
If you want to wear a dress, bro, wear a dress. And it's like, nah, bro, I'm not going to wear a dress because I'm not about that.
I ain't about that life, bro. I ain't about that life. Let's see. Everything you're saying, bro, I 100% agree with. Isaac, if you wear a dress, I'm gonna slap you in the face.
If I wear a dress, I might as well just stick
also,
a
if
Twinkie down my
anybody
throat.
in my daughter's future school, if I decide to let her go to school, wears a dress that is a man, I'm coming after you.
I mean, you just don't know where the world's going.
Bro, I will homeschool my kid, and
My son's
they will be a hermit before that
George Janko, I like your beard. Plus play.
My opinion.
Actually, if we had an agreement that, if we were respectful in that way, I feel like then the school system wouldn't be so messed up the way that it is, because then we would respect the fact that there are two sides, and one side wouldn't only be taught, right? Both sides would be taught, and then the students would be able to make their decision as to where they want to go.
Right.
But that's not the case, right?
Well, the reason that people get upset, just to kind of answer your question of why that is, you only get upset when you're lying. Right? The lie hates hearing the truth, always. So if you say something that is so obviously a lie, that a man dressing up as a woman is manly, you're going to be upset when someone says, no, that's obviously not manly. That's not an example of masculinity to cosplay as a woman.
Yeah.
And so they then turn into Marxists. They then turn into George Orwell's 1984, and they're like, I have to force you to not believe your own eyes, right? And they get tremendously defensive because they've been exposed as a liar, right? Not because these are two different ideas,
When
right?
she says
It's
that,
not
it's
like,
funny because you can think about, I'm sure anyone listening and you guys here, anytime you've had a conversation with someone and you challenge the way they think and they get aggressive and heated immediately, why do you need me to believe what you believe
because
so
they
desperately?
take it on as them, so therefore they feel
It's
like
not
They've
Identity.
adopted an identity
Yep.
of that
Yep.
belief. Yeah, and that's what's so crazy about like the last couple of years. Like you see it across so many different conversations. The last like 4 or 5 years, you could see like culture as a whole has just deteriorated, right? Like the arguments people have, and like I think a lot of it has to do with like society. Like stuff gets put out in the media and they're saying, hey, focus on this, and then you have two sides that are fighting, and then things are happening behind the scenes, and you're like, wait a second, why
It's
is
smoke
the
and mirrors.
why is the market crashing?
It's smoke and mirrors.
Why is inflation so
100%.
It's
And
not-
You know what I mean?
I think the biggest thing is going back to what George's that's his fiance or girlfriend.
His fiance.
Fiance.
Now. Fiance now.
Yeah. So one thing I really like that she said. Let me know what you think about this. She said, what you're supposed to have is opposing views. They come together, and then the person, the student or whatever, makes their own decision. The problem now is it is so one-sided. You're allowed to have witchcraft books in school, but you can't have specific books about Christianese or Jesus or whatever.
Christian
So
values
it's
and,
so one-way taught. I think, what was the stat, that 80 to 90% of college professors are woke or
But
liberal?
you can also have.
So you're being taught one thing. So you're being conditioned at such a young age, whether you're 5 or 6, of one thing. You're not given the
But
option
see, and
to
that's
make up
and
your
that's
mind.
why I feel like as a parent, like
Yeah.
being a father, like I have such a perspective now where I'm not going to let someone else shape my son's life and his perspectives and his morals and values. So
Let's go.
I understand that not every family has the opportunity to either homeschool their kids or send their kids to private school and give them a perspective of what they want. And like you can look at any culture. No child is born full of hate. They're raised and given that perspective.
Nature
No
versus
child.
They're taught.
I mean, you could see some of these videos that come out of parents like trying to perpetrate a belief on a child, and they don't even know what the parent's saying to them, but they're adopting this belief because they trust them. Like my son, there's so many times he's going through a stage now where like he's been hitting, but if you really understand what he's doing, he's testing boundaries, and 2, he wants our attention.
Yeah.
So if you redirect the behavior and you give him an opportunity to engage with you in that moment, I've noticed over the last few weeks where we've been really working with him on it, he's so loving and so gentle because we're so loving and gentle.
That's true.
But if we were aggressive and yelling and quick with him to where he was being rushed constantly, there would be a different perspective. And I'm not saying that we're the best parents in the world, because we're not, but we have such an understanding of what we want to give him in life, because once he gets old enough to understand and experience things, he's going to experience traumas and he's going to have to go through stuff. But what our goal and our job as a parent is to lay such a safe foundation so when he gets to those places, he has coping mechanisms. Dude, my kid's not even 2. Sometimes he'll get all upset and I'm like, all right, what are we going to do? And he'll start doing some breathing techniques and stuff. So like, we have fun with it, but like there really is a
so
perspective.
funny.
Like when you get to that age where you're Candace Owens and, what is it? Janko?
George Janko.
Yeah. Like you live life. Your parents aren't there to protect you and watch over you anymore. And I feel like that's what you guys, the whole channel is about, like being a strong man, like raising with the intention of love and kindness and integrity, so that when things happen, your subconscious reacts in that way versus, pretending to be a certain way. And then you get in a situation and you're,
But
a completely different person.
I agree with you, but intentionality comes with fathering to a degree of being in a school system. Because what they're teaching in schools now is that I can be in a school system and open up a book and be exposed to illicit activity that is completely against, I don't care what worldview you have. It can be against any worldview. And Candace has talked about this multiple times on her podcast, that kids are being hypersexualized in our culture beyond repair. And governments are pushing this. I don't care what aisle you lean on. And what you're saying from a 2 to maybe 5, 6 perspective, yes, that's absolutely true. A father should train up in the kid in the way that he should go so he doesn't depart from it. But when you get past the age of you can then oversee every part of that development because you're going to then send them to school one day and you're not going to be able to oversee them all the time. What system are you sending them into? And I think that's a lot of what she's talking about.
I think the statistic was you will spend 76% of your child's life with them by the time they're 8 years old.
That's wild.
I think it's either 8 or now I need to find it out, but it was either 8 or 12. And then by the time they're 18, you spent like 80 something % of their life with them. Because you think about it, like once you turn 18, 19, you move out of your parents' house, like most people, that's on average. Most people don't see their parents but maybe once a week, once a couple of weeks. If you move away, once a year, once every 6 months. So if you don't shape them in that way at an early age to where they understand what truth and reality and life is supposed to be about, and to me, that's loving others, that's having integrity, that's working hard, that's being honest, that's being a sincere individual in everything you do and working hard and understanding that the work you're doing isn't for your boss, it's for you. It's for, the Bible says work unto the Lord, right? So everything you're doing, it's not, man, I hate this job is stupid. If you can't be faithful in the small things, he won't make you ruler over great things.
Much, yeah.
So, I mean, I know we're kind of getting off on a tangent here, but like this video is interesting because it really does speak to the society today where there's no rules and laws. There's not, everything
Nothing.
is live the way you want to live.
Truth is
and
relative.
if you don't accept me for
Truth
that,
is
you're
relative.
a bigot and you're a POS.
Truth is relative, right?
Yeah. Everything's
whatever you want
relative
it to be.
today.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Everything's subjective. It's like, well, I think that's true, but only in this scenario. It's like, bro, it's either true or it's not true. Like,
Dude, so true, man. We started off with should men wear dresses, but the deepness with that conversation, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you think about men in dresses, it makes you reflect on your life. Should you do that or
Makes
should
you
you
think
not?
about your kids.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you, Johnny P. He's going to be on here often, so get used to that beautiful Italian stallion. But we love you guys. We'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.
Don't miss eating your pierogies. Peace.